Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's Sunday, March the 2nd. This is Cerie with the Spiritual View, one of your hosts, and we are merging our magic daily for you. And welcome to the community if you're new to the channel. And I wanted to continue a series that we've been doing, or I've been doing for the last number of weeks. And we've been calling them Superpower Sundays. And these were energies or themes that we were given in order to master some of the energies that are upon us right now. And if you're like me, we've all had a lot of experiences so far this year with some pretty strong energy. And so today is superpower number 9. So we will have one more week, but let me just review these really quickly with you. Number 1 that we started with was be the observer and don't get involved in any drama or chaos around you. Number 2, how do you stay in your heart versus going up into your head? Number 3, how do we learn to stay in the present moment, not worrying about the past and creating the future one experience at a time? Number 4, forgiveness. How do we give forgiveness for ourselves and for others? Number 5, how do we express gratitude for sometimes the tough lessons that we've been through? Number 6, discernment. Who is with us on the journey and also who is not? Number 7, finding joy in the small things. That was a fun one. Number 8, surrender. Surrender to what Spirit has for you. And today's theme, which came this morning at 2:30, and I get woken up and given the theme, today was about grace. It's a little bit of a surprise for me, and it's about giving grace. And so I'm going to read to you some of the original definitions of grace, because I was like, well, I don't know that grace is really well understood. In the biblical sense, in Middle English, the origin of the word grace actually meant God's favor or help. It also comes from the word in Old French and from Latin gratia or gracia, meaning pleasing quality, favor, thanks, and then from gratis, meaning pleasing. And the kind of the modern day definition that I'm reading here, and this is not necessarily biblical, but it's more spiritual. And this is grace is unmerited divine assistance given to humans for their regeneration or sanctification. So for our ascension process. It's also another meaning is to dignify or raise by act or favor. And so I think today the message around grace is, how do we give grace to others around us, give favor? Some of this might be compassion, forgiveness. There's a lot of grace that's needed right now for ourselves and for others in humanity. There's a lot of changes going on in the energy of the planet, and people's energy is all over the place. And I'll just share with you a little context. I have been traveling, supporting one of my sisters who's been in the hospital. This is day 10. And I have seen kind of the highs and lows of humanity and a great deal of suffering. And when you sit in hospitals and deal with kind of the highs and lows of the human condition and people's physical pain and suffering, it is a very dense energy and sometimes very hard to navigate. You also see kind of the highs and lows of people's patience, their behaviors, and it makes you need to draw within to have a great sense of compassion. And sometimes people are not at their best and oftentimes at their worst. So I pulled some cards today. So we're going to talk about, how do we actually give grace? Grace to ourselves, not being perfect, not having all the right answers, sometimes not being our best selves, but also how do we give grace to those around us? And the way that I would describe the hospital this week is just full of a lot of dark energy. And I feel like I'm this light bulb walking through. I've been clearing my energy. I've been trying to give grace to my sister who's suffering a lot. I'm trying to understand, the extremes of behavior and sometimes what happens in those circumstances. So I guess this past couple of weeks has been a good lesson for me in how to appreciate compassion and empathy and understanding. And when people are acting out all over the place, and sometimes out of sheer physical pain, sometimes it's emotional pain, our job is to give grace. And so I pulled a couple of oracle cards to get us started. And so I said, Spirit, tell us what's going on with giving grace. What what's the meaning or what's going on. And I pulled this from the Shaman's Dream. And this is Moon Maiden. It's a 41 card, which uh, ends up as a 5, which 5s are all about change. And this is new ideas, new beginnings, and curiosity. So the Moon Maiden arrives to offer you a new beginning, a new face in a facet of yourself that is aching to be shown to the world. There are qualities that you've been quietly cultivating and that are ready for the limelight. The secrecy was important, for it was protecting your new face and kept what was precious close to your heart. But now it's time to come forward in new splendor. So many of you out there are really shedding your old skin. And we've been talking about the year of the wood snake, that there's so much transformation and shedding of our old selves. And if you look at this beautiful card, this angel here with the full moon, the Moon Maiden, she looks like an angel. They call her a maiden, but she's starting a new beginning. So many of you out there are experiencing this new sense of self. And what the message from Spirit right now, it says the Moon Maiden invites you to shine forward with your own light, to have radiant curiosity, and to ask anyone who offers you a mouthful of dogma, actually, do you really believe this? So many of you may be drawn into political conversations or social conversations about the world, politics, drama, whatever it is, but you are shedding your old skin and inviting in this beautiful Moon Maiden that is calling in a new beginning. So if you were going through a transformation, and many of you are, as am I think that the higher wisdom behind this is welcome it in and allow this new you, the old skin, to fall away, and the new skin around this higher wisdom. Sorry, just one second. Okay, sorry about that. So at a higher level, what we have, and this is the Gaia Oracle deck. So I said, Spirit, if we looked at this from a higher perspective of the soul's journey, why do we have this opportunity to expand and to look at grace through a new beginning? And maybe this is a calling for some of you, that you were able to step up your game and to have just the higher wisdom of what grace means for others and to give that grace. And I got this beautiful card called Hidden Paths. And if you look at this, it has the symbol of the sun and the Egyptian symbol in between the two trees, the branches there of the Ankh, which is the Egyptian symbol of life or rebirth. And then you see on the other side the eye, and this is the eye of protection. So this is the hidden paths, and this is a 34, which reduces to a 7, which is a very holy and sacred number. So the hidden path is the marriage of spirit and matter. So kind of from a soul's perspective, it says you have traveled far in search of greater meaning and fulfillment, having made much progress in learning valuable lessons. You want to continue your journey, but the road may have come to an end. Where do you go from here? And they said that the imagery of this, the symbols of these things on the card, it's set within a magical forest. It seems inviting, yet far away. It's not, yet the way forward is not clear. And if you see, there is no physical path that's shown on here where someone could walk. It says, however, there is a way forward. Between the trees is a symbol for eternal life, and to the right, the symbol for healing and protection, the eye. This card is inviting you to move forward spiritually, and it offers you healing and protection along the way. Spirit and matter must merge now in true progress to be made, and you must align your heart and mind to be able to do so. So from a higher wisdom perspective, we have this opportunity to step out in faith. Maybe we don't know how to give grace or to give grace to ourselves. And sometimes this is around the ability to express empathy and compassion and forgiveness of ourselves, but also to have that higher wisdom in context around us with others who may not be expressing their best selves or maybe acting out. So I ask also, why is this an opportunity for us now? Why would this be another superpower? Does it even make sense to me? And so the first card I pulled up was, and this is from the Light Seers Tarot, the why we're being given this opportunity is the Seven of Wands. And this is a card that can oftentimes mean resistance. Now we've pulled two sevens here, so we got a lot of sacred and holy messages coming in this morning. And there may be a lot of resistance that you could be feeling as you're dealing with others or you're out in the world and experience sometimes the highs and lows of the human condition. And sometimes it's not pleasant, and oftentimes it is not flattering to the people that are around you. And I've been a little surprised this week at some of the lack of empathy and lack of compassion that I've experienced with some people around me. And some of those have been other family members. And so we may have some resistance going on out there in the energy as it relates to giving grace to ourselves and to others around us. And I asked Spirit, okay, so if we can exercise this muscle or build this muscle around grace, what is a possible next step or something that we might see in our material world? And I got the Sun. And for those of you who know the major arcana, the Sun is the most positive card in the deck. It is a beautiful energy. And you just see this woman so connected with this beautiful energy, this radiant energy of the Sun. So what Spirit is, I think, communicating to us is that if we can express grace for ourselves and for those around us, it allows us on a higher timeline. And I think I'm saying this in respect to those of you on the spiritual path in this ascension journey. All of these superpowers are helping us continue to raise and expand our vibration. It's continuing to help us be on the highest timeline of our best selves for our highest and greatest good. Now, what could be the potential outcome if we are experiencing grace and giving grace to others is the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is the fastest knight. And you can see this gentleman running. He's got a motorcycle in the distance, so he's about ready to jump on and take off. I think this is an acceleration. And I think grace for me is a superpower of accelerating our ascension journey and our ascension path. So many of you are getting so many messages of truth about yourself, about who you are. You're shedding that old snakeskin and you're coming into your own, and you're actually running. And you can see he's in great shape and he is running towards a destination, and he's going to use this motorbike or motorcycle to accelerate his journey. So many of you are stepping into your truth, and many of you are starting to see this expansion and this whoosh of acceleration of your soul's journey. And so grace is one of those superpowers that I think can help you as you are expanding on your spiritual path, and you are starting to switch and jump timelines. And that's what I'm observing as well. What we don't see coming, and this sometimes is a watch out. I pulled the Five of Swords. Fives, of course, are about change. We've already pulled a five from our Oracle card, but this can mean, okay, the path ahead may not be so easy or pleasant. And again, this could be, you've got people who don't want to cooperate, people who might play games. And I just asked a card of clarity. I wanted a little bit more clarity on the Five of Swords. And what's interesting is I got the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles is oftentimes around fear. It's around lack, maybe lack of resources. It might be, fear of being left out, whatever it might mean. So we've gotten two fives here, but we also pulled another five in the Oracle card. So a lot of change that may be going on around us, but also within us. And so if you are out in the world and you are in situations where you're being tested, if you will, or people around you are not being their best selves, how do you show up? Can you give grace to others around you who may be lost, who may be acting in fear, who may be feeling left out or not a part of things? Or you have people who are being cruel and playing games and don't have best intentions in mind for those around them. So when you are in these situations, what Spirit is saying, how do you want to show up? And if you just keep in mind this simple thought, I give grace to myself, I give grace to everyone around me. And some of that takes a lot of maturity. It takes wisdom, especially when people are intentionally trying to trigger you. And I would just say grace can be a wonderful superpower to help you continue to expand in your ascension journey. The last message from Spirit today, I pulled from the Cosmic Oracle, and this is hope. This is such a beautiful card. It's a number 16, which is another 7, it reduces down to. So another message of sacredness. I'm getting a lot of message that grace is almost like it's a superpower, but it's like a injector of this wonderful energy, if you will, from the divine that allows us to really accelerate our journey. So if you want to fine tune your superpowers, what they're saying is grace is very subtle. Grace can be very quiet from within you, and give grace to self for not being perfect, for not always having the answers, for not knowing what the next step is. But we are stepping out in faith to be the best versions of ourselves. And by giving grace to others, we are lighting the path and we are shining our light, and we are being the lighthouses we've been asked to be in this tremendous transformation journey on the planet. So that's the message for Sunday. I wanted just to thank you for listening to the message. It's a deep one today. And give yourself grace and look at the opportunities ahead this week to have compassion and empathy and grace for others around. And you're going to be giving people a gift. Don't respond to anger. Don't respond to triggers. Just be in your own bubble and be grateful and graceful because Spirit's saying this is such a wonderful superpower and an accelerator of our expansion of jumping timelines and expanding in our spiritual growth. Happy Sunday to all of you around the world. Please get some rest, recharge your batteries. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, we are so grateful that you've joined us. Happy Sunday, y'all. Thank you.